I personally would never tell someone to not check the 3D because checking the 3D is not as deep as some of you guys are making it out to be. And there's absolutely no reason to keep beating yourself up about it if you do, happen to check. Because a big concept in this work, right, in understanding the nature of reality, but also your place within it, is understanding that everything is one, right? It's about recognizing that there is this outside experience of a you and a me and a us and a them, right? But fundamentally, there is no other. There's only I am choosing to embody and express itself in a infinite number of ways, right? And so if we're starting to not only understand this, but also experience this in a real and visceral way, then why would we ever think that checking the 3D is, something that's going to keep our manifestation from us, or, it's going to delay your manifestation in some way or another, right? This too, in my opinion, this too is also an illusion because if you start to think about it, it's implying that, there's another reality, a separate reality outside of you that's separate from you. And that's the thing that's determining whether you get your manifestation based off what it looks like or based off how many times you check or don't check, right? But if nothing can ever be truly separate from you, then like I said, you come to this realization that even the 3D, even, what you consider to be out there, right, is just an extension of I am. It's the extension of who you truly are, right, as source. It then becomes irrelevant whether you check or how many times you check because it's all you anyway, right? It's not you as in your human self, but it's that power that creates worlds and galactify the galaxies. So in my opinion, I don't think it's about whether or not you check, right? But it's about who you're identified as when you're checking, right? The problem isn't the act of looking out into reality because it's like, hello, we live in a physical reality. We came here to have a 3D physical human experience, right? And to some extent, our minds, our brains, they're always checking reality, right? It's always scanning through millions, if not billions, of data per second, trying to formulate the best scenario to keep you safe and to keep you alive, right? But it's about what you are believing to be final, right? What are you accepting and assuming as true for yourself? Because the truth is, I am is the force that's commanding and selecting reality. It's not the doing of the character. And most of the world is affirming and confirming what is true, what is available for them based off of what they see in their reality, right? And they keep identifying with the world of form as the decider of again, what is possible for them, what's available for them. And that's how the everyday average person operates. But when you decide to be a mystic, when you decide that you're more than just this individual human self, you stop, allowing the world to dictate what you get to have, what you get to experience, right? You stop using it as the measure or the gauge of what is real, what is possible, or what is impossible for you. And people put all their stock into the 3D, right? And when you put all your stock into, only what you can see, only what you can touch and experience with your five senses, then think about it. That's the state of consciousness that you're identified with, right? That's what you're in agreement with in consciousness. And the real distinction from what separates the mystic in this world from the rest of the world is the rest of the world is bound by appearances, right? They're dictated by fear and separation. But when you put your belief in consciousness, in your imagination, and what you can witness internally, right? That's putting your faith in God. And when you rest there with faith, with conviction, right, you understand that everything you see, everything you experience outside of you is just a frame within the movie that I am is experiencing through the nature of your character. And that doesn't mean that sometimes the character isn't freaking out, Sometimes things aren't going to make sense to the character and it's never truly going to click and the character's never truly going to be able to wrap its head around things. But it makes sense to the producer of the film. It makes sense to the director, right? Because they have the full script. They have the entire vision in their head, and they know that every turn the character makes, every seeming setback will still arrive them at the end. And that's what's happening because I am is the producer, right? It's the architect of the movie. It has the full panoramic view of everything, right? Of every possibility. And when we try to control everything at the level of the character, when we try to understand things from the logical perspective and the human mind, things aren't always going to make sense. But it makes sense to I am. Because again, I am is always complete. It's perfection. It's fulfillment itself. So again, it's not whether you check the 3D or don't check the 3D, right? It's about who you believe you are when you do, right? When you're checking, are you identified as the character who is desperately scanning, its reality for proof? To validate to itself whether you're safe, chosen, loved, successful, abundant, right? Or are you choosing to live as I am, as the awareness behind the character, right? Because I am is just watching. It's watching the scene unfold and it's knowing its decision. It's knowing itself as its own validation, right? That nothing outside of you has the authority to determine what is already decided in consciousness. So again, are you checking the 3D from a place of observation, of a place of expectancy that things are working out for you, that somehow, some way, even if it doesn't look like it's working out, that it's leading you exactly to where you want to be, right? Or are you tripping because you're using the 3D as the measure of what is yours or what is not yours, right? And it's not about avoiding reality from the perspective of the character. You manifest as I am, but you do it by, no longer declaring 3D to be the ultimate authority of what you get to have, what you get to receive, right? You allow your manifestation to unfold by remembering that you are your own power, right? That the power isn't in the 3D. The 3D had no creative power of its own, right? The only thing that ever mattered was what are you deciding is possible for you? Because your life, right? The movie that you're living was already written before the first scene was ever played. Another way to say this is that creation is finished. Nothing inside the bridge to the end of the film means that the ending of the film has changed, right? It only means that you're over identifying with the character and you don't have access to the full script. And that's okay, right? We're going to let the character feel what it feels. We're going to let the character question, but don't forget who's actually directing the film, right? I am already saw the final frame. I am already declared it to be done, right? And the character follows in that knowing. So if you're ready to live as the mystic instead of the character, then this is the work we do together in my one-on-one coaching program. We collapse the separation. We dissolve the fear-based identification that most of the world is living by, right? And we don't just do it from the level of the character, from trying to fix circumstances, right? And trying to morph appearances, but we do it from reclaiming the authority of I am. And as always, share this video with someone who you think might need to hear it. Thank you guys again so much for always being here, always showing up in this work, for always showing me love on this channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.